Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. Ooh, I think I'll put a paper on here so that it won't be so much of a glare. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, so I've got another new set here to play with today. And by the way, welcome to my channel. My name is Jana and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thanks so much for being here. And if you are new, welcome. Welcome to everybody. And I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already. One thing I do want to mention before I forget is Stampin' Up! Has a sale right now on the 12 by 12 two-tone cardstock. That cardstock, just to let you know, does have a white core. I believe it's a little bit lighter weight. So it's like, say you're looking at the color blueberry bushel, it will be the normal blueberry bushel on one side and it will be a little bit lighter on the other side. So it's 20% off, and I think that sale started yesterday. So I believe it goes through tomorrow, so Friday. All right, so this new set that I'm playing with today is called Sunrise Sailing, and it's a photopolymer stamp set. It is a two-step stamp set, and then you can get it in a bundle with the dies and the embossing folder. This comes together as a set. So these are packaged together. They come in a clear envelope, the two of them together like this. And if you buy these two things together, you'll save 10% on the bundle, okay? This is a 3D, I'm sorry, it is a hybrid embossing folder. And what that means is that you can put the dies in the folder like the sailboat, and you can emboss and cut out at the same time. I choose to do it separately, but if you want to do it together, you certainly can. Okay, so I want to use all the things today, and I'm going to. So let me see. Here's all my parts and pieces. And I'm going to pull out this piece here of Coastal Cabana. And this I have cut to, let me get my ruler, but I believe, okay, so it is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And what am I going to do with it first? I believe I need to pull out the embossing folder here. And we'll do that step first. So even though it doesn't say it's a 3D embossing folder on here, it feels like a 3D embossing folder to me. So you'll just want to make sure when you're running it through whatever your machine is, I would assume that it's a 3D embossing folder and build your sandwich that way. Okay, so I'm going to position my paper in here. I want the whole sailboat in. So you've got the sailboat on the water and some clouds and a couple of seagulls over there. So you can put your paper wherever to get the embossing that you want, okay? So I'm going to put it like this, and then I can flip it over and kind of see where the boat is positioned. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll go with that. All right, I'm gonna run this through my machine that I have setting over here on this side, and I'll be right back. Hi, Nancy. Okay, so there is how that looks. I've got that darn yellow line scrolling through again. I just don't understand what causes that. Huh. Okay, so now that I've got this done, I am going to, before I do anything else, I want to stamp and heat emboss with white embossing powder the word ahoy on there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of powder in the area that I want to do that. And I'm just grabbing for my Versamark here. So I'm inking up with the clear Versamark. And get my card straight, because I kind of want my word to be straight. And I'm going to put it right there. Just getting any little stray pieces away there. Ahoy! All right, so there is that. Now then, I'm going to grab my white, my Whisper, well, it used to be called Whisper White. I believe it's just basic white now, and it is the white craft ink. When you order this, now you get like an empty stamp pad and the white ink, and you load it up when you get it with the ink. Okay, so I've got my little daubers here. Make sure I've got the white one. So this white craft ink is a pigment ink, which means it stays wet longer. It's a thicker ink. And I'm just going to go over the clouds that are on here and make them white. And I will most likely let this dry and go back over a second time, because while it looks really pretty good right now, it's going to soak in to that cardstock. So I will go over it a second time. And if you wanted to, because this is a pigment ink and stays wet, you could actually put your white embossing powder on it if you wanted to, and emboss it. I'm choosing to just make these be light wispy clouds, so I'm not going to do that today. But after it dries a bit, I will go over them a second time. Okay, so here is how it's looking so far. Set that there. And then let me grab my Coastal Cabana dauber, this one. And remember, I said that paper is Coastal Cabana. I'm going to grab my ink pad, and I'm going to do the water. I'm just going to lightly go over the raised edge there from the embossing. I am going to dip down under the boat because I want that added color under the boat. I don't want it to look like it is floating above the water. That would be weird. And I don't mind if it gets up onto the boat, because we're going to be covering that boat up. Okay, so there's our water. Hi, Danita. You love the card already. It's going to be a very summery card, that's for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to just set that aside and let it dry. And let me grab my piece of white here. And I'm just going to pull in my Misty. And I'm going to get the big sailboat out of here. Now in the die set, you've got the big sailboat, and then you've got a medium-sized sailboat and a small sailboat. You've got two separate sails for the medium and the small sailboat to add on there. You've got 3 seagulls. There's one seagull here that's a different one. You've got 2 clouds, and you've got 2 strips here that you can create water with. Okay, so I'm going to grab this sailboat for right now and put it right there. And I'm going to ink it up with Blueberry Bushel. And this ink pad is very juicy, so I'm thinking 1 time is going to be plenty. Let me wipe off that extra ink. And let's just see. Looks good. Okay, sorry if that squeaking bugs you. All right, now then, remember I said this is a 2-step stamp set. So what that means is that you've got stamps that fill in, I'll just set that one there for now, fill in the color in the open spots so you don't have to do any coloring. You certainly can if you want to. You don't have to use these stamps, but I'm going to use them today. So there's that. And okay, I'm going to ink that up with Azure Afternoon. And there I go again, getting ink everywhere. And I think I wiped some of it off of my boat. Let me see if I can do it again without getting the ink everywhere. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Let's see. Okay, so there is that. And you can make your sailboat whatever color you would like. That's the fun of stamping. Hi, Tina Bean. Okay, so then I already pulled out this stamp, and this is going to put some fun stripes onto the sails here. I think that's good where it is. My stamps are so sticky, they keep pulling my paper up too. Okay, so I'm going to grab Poppy Parade, which is a pretty red-orange color, like poppies. And there I go, getting it everywhere again. Am I the only one that does this, or does everybody else get ink on their plates? Okay. Got it on my fingers too, I can see. All right, so I could ink that up one more time and make it darker, but I kind of just like that look. So it's kind of a more watercolory look to me, so I am leaving it at that. All right, so that is ready to go. I should probably take this off where I'll be looking for it and saying, where is my stamp? You guys, red stains your stamp, and so does blue. You know, different colors stain your stamps, but it doesn't affect how they stamp. Um, you won't find that so much with red rubber stamps, but with the clear stamps, they're going to stain. It's just what happens. And it's okay. All right, so here is this. Now let's get the die out for that. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you, if you ordered this set, the dies come on 2 sheets in here. So these 2 strips are going to be on a separate sheet by themselves in behind the first sheet, the top sheet. So don't think that you're missing dies. Just take them out and you'll find that second sheet in there. Okay, so now we're going to cut this out. And I'm going to put a little piece of tape on here because I don't want it moving around when I run it through my machine. Okay, I'll be right back again. Actually, let me set that there because I'm going to want to use it. So there's our boat. Cute. Hi, Beck and Sam. Oh, good, Nancy. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I get it all over me, all over everything. I do the same thing when I put my mascara on. Seriously, I put my mascara on and then I have to go back with a Q-tip and get it off of my eyelid. All right, so now I'm going back to the embossing folder again. And if you wanted to do this in one step, that die will actually, you would put it on this side and you can kind of see maybe where it would fit because it's got this opening area around here. It would sit right there, and then you could put your paper in there and run it through and it would do all the things for you at once. I just don't like to put my dies in the embossing folder. So I just choose to do it separate. But I'm going to put my boat here because I am going to emboss it. And let me see if it looks like I've got it right here. I can see it from this side. It looks like I might have it off just a little bit, so let me adjust that. That looks better from this side. Let me look here. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, I'm going to run it back through my machine. And I don't know if you can see how it embossed it there on that back side, but I think you can kind of see that. You're not going to notice it so much on the front. There we go. In the video, I don't think, but you can certainly feel, you know, that it's puffy. And you can see there, the embossing there. And that's just going to make it so that it fits right over the top of the embossed image on here. Okay, so before I put the boat on there, I'm going to take my white gel pen and I just have a jelly roll. This is the medium Sakura jelly roll. And I'm going to go right over the tops. Your pen can feel the top edge of all of those little embossed areas. And I'm just going to take my white gel pen across the top of all those to give that little fun crest on the water, the little ripples and waves in the water. Yeah, once you set your pen down on the top of that embossed edge, you don't really have to think about it too much. It just will follow right along. I know I get quiet when I'm doing stuff like this, but I'm still here. I'm just concentrating. Okay, let's see here. What have I missed? I think I got all of them. If you wanted to go along the bottom, you could too, but I think just the tops. Okay, and we'll see if I need to go back over those a second time after a while, after it dries a bit. And then this is going to glue right over the top of that embossed image. So I'm just using wet glue. I think it's easier. I don't know if you can hear that bumping. It's my door into my room here. I didn't shut it all the way, but I knew my husband was coming home, and so I just closed the door. Okay, and you can see where to put it because the image is raised up. So you'll just put it right over the top of the one that's already there. Now, if you wanted to glue the boat down and pop the sail part up a little bit, you could, but I don't think it's necessary because of the embossing. Okay, so there's that. And then in here I've got the rest of my parts and pieces. I've got some birds. Let's let them fly on out. Okay. So those are from the die set. There are birds on here. So if you wanted to take a marker and just go over the top of them that way, you could. If you wanted to stamp over them with that one stamp that's in the set, you could. But these birds are 3 different sizes and their wings are going a little bit differently. So I chose to go ahead and die cut those out, and I did that with basic gray. So let's see here. I'm debating if I want to, I don't think I want to put my card together yet because I might still want to go over those clouds again, but I can go ahead and put the birds on. So let's see, I'm going to do, are these all turned the right way? No, that one is like that. That one's upside down also. Them also their right side up. Okay, so we'll go with this one first, and I'm just going to dot some glue onto the back of these. You could use your double stick paper or adhesive to put on the back of your cardstock before you cut them out too, and do that. So I'm just going right over the top of the birds that are already there. So there's that one. I'm going to do the medium one here. Not that they're small, medium, and large. There's kind of two that are, these two are more similar in size, and then that one's a little bit bigger. So I'll go over the other bird that's embossed here and cover him up. Okay, so there's those two. And this one's going to go right over here. So there's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over those clouds one more time real quick. This little one down here by itself. Okay. Pretty. This would be a great card for anybody, but in particular, I think it's a great card for guys. All right, so now then, I've got the same color of a card base that I did the inside of the boat with. So this is Azure Afternoon, and I've got a piece of white for the inside. And you know me, I don't stamp. Well, once in a while I do. Once in a while I will stamp a sentiment on the inside, but typically I don't because it depends on what I want to use the card for and who I'm giving it to. And I will do that when I get ready to give or send my card. And I didn't use any patterned paper today, so I don't have anything to put a little strip across the bottom with. I could bring, and maybe I will do that. Let me grab the little seagull that's in the stamp set here. And we'll just stamp a couple of seagulls in there. So since I did the other birds in basic gray, that's what I will stamp this one with. And we'll stamp one more over here. And he'll be yelling to the others, Wait for me, guys. There we go. Okay, so that gives a little decoration to the inside. Okay, now I am going to put this on a sheet of white that is cut just 1/8 of an inch bigger. So 4 1/8 by 5. And let's see, that piece is 5 1/4. So what is it? 5 3/16. Is that right? When you are adding any kind of adhesive like this to the back of an embossed piece of paper, you want to go slow and be really careful, because when you emboss your cardstock, it weakens the fibers. So sometimes your paper, your cardstock might want to peel up. So you just want to go at it slowly and carefully. And I have had that happen to me. So that'll just give it that little border of white to make things pop. And I'm going to turn it over because I'm sure my white ink is still a little bit wet, so I don't want to be rubbing it with my hand. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think this is a great summer set. So there it is. Ahoy. Okay, look, I have another one just like it. Except for one thing. I did go back over where I did the white caps, and I put Wink of Stella, which lessened, you don't see the white as vividly after you put the Wink of Stella on it. You do see the sparkle, however. So I think I'm going to leave this one with Wink of Stella, and I think I'm just going to leave this one without. Tell me which way you like best, or if you can even notice it. This is the Wink of Stella one. If you can see the sparkle, a lot of times on video, the sparkle doesn't show up at all. And then of course, this is the one without. Okay. So, hi Sue. All right, you guys, I've got something new for story time today. And if you are new to my channel, I do story time at the end of my Thursday videos. It's just a little extra fun, something that I like to do. And so if you don't want to, if you're not interested in that, you don't have to listen. You can just click away if you don't want story time. But usually it's kind of fun, I think. Sometimes I started out doing them in these little miniature books, which I will go back to miniatures from time to time. I've done old vintage magazines where I read funny things from the ads and such. Today I pulled a book off my bookshelf here in my craft room, and it's a really gorgeous book. It is this one right here. Isn't it beautiful? It's called Fairyopolis, and it's an interactive book, and it says A Flower Fairies Journal. This is a raised, it's just acrylic, but looks like a jewel. The book itself is just absolutely gorgeous. As dusk fell, there was a magical feel to the evening. One could almost see groups of fairies flitting about the shadowy fields. But yeah, it's just a beautiful book. Um, 1999, I can't remember if that's what I paid for it. I believe I bought this when I was working. A person would come around selling books from time to time, and I think that's where I got this. I'm not positive, but I think so. So, we'll just start right here. And like I said, it's interactive, so there's fun things along the way. This looks like a real picture. It actually kind of reminds me of my mom when she was younger. And so that looks like it's really being held with a paper clip there, but it's not. It's just part of the printing. It says, "This journal belongs to Cicely Mary Banker." And let's just read this. The Waldron's Croydon, Surrey, British Fairy Folklore Society. It's dated January 6, 1923. It says, "Dear Sirs, I hope you will not mind my writing to you with a request. I am an artist and writer who has been fascinated by fairies since I was a child. My first book, Flower Fairies of the Spring, will be published later this year. I am sending the Society a journal I kept during the summer of 1920 when I felt particularly inspired to write and sketch copiously. I am trusting you, my fellow fairy lovers, to look after and preserve this book. Yours sincerely, Cicely M. Barker." Okay. April, the 3rd of April. How wonderful it is to be back at Barton's. It's a haven of tranquility here, and I'm so looking forward to a few months of painting and quiet contemplation. Edith is such a dear friend, and it was very kind of her to offer me the use of her summer home here in Starrington. I think that's what that says. Oh, I do so hope she is enjoying her trip to India. Edith may travel secure in the knowledge that her garden will be well looked after during my stay. My gardening gloves were the first item to be packed. And down here's a little note that says, "Barton's is surrounded by meadows filled with wildflowers." And so I'm guessing this is her painting. A strange thing happened today. I think this says the 6th of April. A strange thing happened today. I was watering the flowers when I caught a glimpse of something on the path. On closer inspection, I could clearly see that it was a set of tiny wet footprints. Each print was no longer than 1/4 of an inch. One could see the impressions of tiny toes like children's footprints on a beach. The footprints led along the path for a yard or so, then headed into the daffodils. I studied them closely, but they quickly dried in the spring sunshine and were gone. It is now the evening. In thinking over today's incident, I am now sure that my eyes were deceiving me. I think I may have been working too hard on my fairy paintings recently. I am reminded, however, of grandmother's wonderful fairy tales. She made her fairies seem so real. I have some knowledge of animal footprints, and I'm convinced that these prints were not from any ordinary creature. And then we have this cute card here with a daisy. It says, "Humans try to search for me. I flit, I fly, I hide from thee. Lift my petals, but only 3, to see if you may capture me." So let's see. Oh, yeah, there she is. There's the little fairy. And then under here, grandmother sent me this postcard when I was little, after she had told me all about a pretty fairy who lived among the daisies. That is so cute. Let's see what the back of the card says. 25th of September, my dearest Cicely, I found this beautiful card tucked away in a shop recently and thought immediately of you. With much love, grandmother. Beck, your daughter has this book, brings back great memories. Yep, I love stuff like this. Okay, interactive books when I was a kid were always my favorite. So we'll just stop there. I'm not going to go on and on with it, but let me put a bookmark here so we can start with this one next time. And we'll just do a couple of pages each time. And here is another look at this fun card. And again, the set is called Sunrise Sailing. The stamps, and then if you missed it in the beginning, the embossing folder and dies come together as one. Okay, so this is one item, this is one item, but you can put them in a bundle and save 10% if you bundle it together. Okay. And also, I will mention one more time too that the two-tone 12 by 12 cardstock is on sale, 20% off. I believe it started yesterday, so it's going on today and tomorrow still. All right, you guys have a fabulous weekend. If you make make a card like this or whatever, please share it. You can share it over on Saturday Morning Makes and Today's too on Facebook if you're part of that group, and if you're not, request to join and I will add you in there. There's lots of inspiration from everybody over there. Cards and all kinds of other stuff. Okay, take care. I'll see you next time. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.